Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be going over something that I have been longing to do on UOSagas, and that is touch base on the actual masteries. One more thing that's going to set UOSagas apart from the standard UO shard is going to be the masteries for the different selections. So first thing we're going to do is talk about how to pick up a mastery. You've got to have sufficient skill in the actual thing, so swordsmanship, parry, whatever it may be. So head over to like a blacksmith, for example, and it'll tell you train fencing mastery, macing mastery, parry mastery, or swordsmanship mastery. So I've already done parry and swordsmanship here, and for the reason of the video, I have maxed them out so we can kind of test them and take a look at what they have to offer. In order to actually bring up the masteries themselves, you're going to go ahead and click on this little icon right above your character where you used to have like your honor and valor and things like that. And right now we are in Moonvale. So right here in front of the bank, you're going to see like a old school looking guildstone. So right here you can actually reset your skill masteries, or at least you can on the alpha server that I'm on. So just keep that in mind as well. If this is available whenever the server goes live, this will be wherever you can kind of mess around with your skill masteries. So first things first, let's go ahead and pop in here. So under swords and under parry, we've got a couple different things that I've already leveled into, as well as up here whenever you max out your character enhancements. You've got melee damage, 5, armor bonus. I've got 8 points into that, 8 points into this, and 5 points into this, giving me 10% additional melee damage, 20 additional armor bonus, and 16% additional on my resists. So that right there is how I set up my character right now. Right now I'm also using swordsmanship and parry mastery. You can only have 2 available at the same time, and only one of them can be active as far as a template bonus. So I did dodge, full spread, 8 on 8, chance to dodge a hit and counter it. And I did full on bloodbath, which inflicts bleeding wounds on all enemies around you, as well as increases melee damage when target is bleeding. So this is going to give me more melee damage, and it's going to give me the chance to, in a sense, you know, counter attack or parry with a little smash in the face there. And as far as parry goes, went full tilt on physical retaliation. The more damage you take, the more you make. And 5 into protect your shield and armor from damage. So this is going to allow me not to have everything break as quickly. And again, when I activate this one, I went with Vengeance, which reflects portions of damage back to its origins. So if I'm fighting something for a very long fight and there's only one mob, I will go ahead and I will activate this template bonus right here, press OK, and now I'm going to be reflecting portions of damage back to whatever named mob or whatever it may be that I'm fighting. But for just basic, you know, running through dungeons and killing multiple creatures or whatever it may be, just to farm, get gold, or make my way to where I'm going, I will be having swordsmanship template bonus active for the additional damage around me, and of course proccing to hit the enemies around me as well for the ability for me to try to tank. I know that me and Masteries went through a couple of dungeons yesterday, including the newbie dungeon, and he picked fencing. He was out damaging me pretty badly. They have an awesome skill mastery tree, and we'll go over that in another video for fencing. But he was actually out damaging me pretty good, and I was actually in the parry stance. Once I switched over to the actual swordsmanship stance, I was able to gather more aggro and actually efficiently tank. So this is definitely going to be the one you want to go with while you're in dungeons, going through and just, you know, beating on mobs, things like that. So what we will do is we'll go ahead and head into a dungeon and we'll test this thing out. One of the things that we did yesterday was kind of check out something called Crematorium. It is a brand new dungeon here on UOSagas, so we'll go over here and take a look at it. So right off the bat, just getting hit. For those that were concerned that there's not going to be a razor, I want to go ahead and put that to bed. Right now, we've already got the assistant. It is staying behind the map right now. They're going to be patching this in, but you'll be able to do all of the basic scripting, running the different skill sets here, different agents. They're all doing this right now, and it's being implemented as quickly as possible. So Don't worry, obviously you're going to have your ability to run your basic scripts that you want and everything else. It's just not going to be quite as I guess automated as a lot of the other servers are, wherever you have people literally just pressing one button and it's doing everything for them, including moving in some cases, things like that. So but dude, keep in mind, if you're looking to just put in a script and start doing some macroing to get your hiding up or whatever it may be, that's still going to be an option, still going to be available to you. So this is Crematorium. This place looks absolutely fantastic. Realistically, I've never seen a dungeon in any UO shard ever, including live, that put this much detail into just making it. I mean, the whole thing just feels alive. It's very, very nice. I love the fact that it's actually dark in the dungeon besides where the torches are. It's just a phenomenal looking dungeon. The devs truly put way, way, way more effort into this than anything I've seen, so I absolutely love it. So I was yapping a second ago, but I did proc and hit several, both the mobs that were around me and made them bleed. And then of course my damage obviously went up after that. But I'll quit yapping here in a second, that way we can go ahead and take a look at it. So right there, you have caused a bloodbath. That would effectively put me in a position to where I'm hitting everything around me with that proc, making them bleed, doing additional damage to all the creatures, and drawing that aggro in. So if I've got another character with me that is primarily for damage, I'm going to be able to take that initial aggro and hopefully get them hitting on me. One thing that we obviously, did last night was the cross heals. Your healing with your bandage takes 10 seconds, but cross healing only takes 5. So if you're playing with a friend, obviously at that point you'll probably want to set something up, or at least let them know. Fight close enough to where you can bandage each other. It's going to be extremely, extremely efficient in comparison to you bandaging yourself only. If you're in a position to where you're fighting like a boss or a much more difficult mob, at that point you can heal yourself and have your friend cross heal you, and that will just be double. But he or she can put in 2 heals for every 1 heal that you do, so it comes out to be much, much more efficient. So I think that's pretty standard, but I know a lot of shards are different, so it's worth mentioning. Also, the loot is going to be adjusted. Obviously, this is just for the testing, so you're not going to quite see this much, this much booty on every single kill that you're going to do. But okay, so there was another mastery, and that one's going to actually be for the parry. So we'll go in here and take a quick look at that. So what that's going to be is it's going to be making sure that it's either protecting me from damage or it's giving me more damage right here. So we'll take a quick look here in a second. We're trying to get some more mobs pulled on me, that way I can show you guys the actual bloodbath and what it actually does. I can probably go somewhere a little easier, that way I'm not getting destroyed. This place is actually pretty difficult. We made it all the way to the end last night, which was pretty fun. Don't think I could do that by myself at all. It took me and Mysterion going in and giving it all we had. So, and according to the dev, this is the place that you're supposed to go right after the newbie dungeon. So I did see another bloodbath. So now you're going to see 2 forms of damage. You're going to see the bleed damage, which actually is pretty good. 15 damage for a bleed is really, really strong, especially considering the fact that it's going to hit everything around you and do that damage. So very, very, very strong attack there. with the 10-second bandaging, it's going to really make the alchemy shine. Being able to utilize the pots is going to be really, really nice for like poison and stuff like that. Those greater cure pots and greater heal, you know, if you're going to be doing something like Mastery or something, or, you know, a shieldless attacker. But talking to the devs more, it does look like this is going to be a much more old school feel when it comes down to gaining your skill points, which is going to be phenomenal. For one, it's going to pause a lot of the PKs that are just going to be able to spend 30 minutes initially. I mean, I guess you could just call it macroing a PK up. So it's going to stop a lot of that. It's going to take actual time to build your character up, which is really, really nice, because a lot of the servers, you know, you feel like you're maxed out, you're GM everything in the first, you know, 2 hours of gameplay, and then at that point you're doing the same repetitive things over and over again because there's no more character development other than maybe items. So I'm really digging the fact, see right there, you have caused a bloodbath. So very, very nice to have that there. It does do the additional damage you need sometimes to pull out a win, especially in a situation to where, you know, you're sitting here on the brink of death. So let's go ahead and head out of here, and we'll get back to the main city. That way we can kind of go over some more of the actual masteries, because this is just swordsmanship and parry. So bear with me. This, like I said, this is my first time or second time here, so I'm trying to still get my bearings. So let's go ahead and use this gate. Moonveil has to be my favorite so far. I know that Mysterion really likes Westwind, but Moonveil is absolutely gorgeous. It's huge too, like it's enormous. It reminds me of what Bretagne should have been. Look at this. It's just absolutely beautiful. You've got every single thing in the city that you would want. It also has a real city feel. You've got little vendor setups. You've got everything here, which is really, really nice. And of course your main bank. But let's get back into the Masteries real fast. So one of the things that I'm really wanting to do on Masteries is I want to go ahead and do a fencing or stealth. As you can see here, backstab, phantom, increases damage when hit from the shadows, stealth more steps, and run and stealth. That sounds crazy, running and stealth. Paralyzing ambush, chance to paralyze when hit out of the stealth, and shadow strike. This is the proc. Hit from the shadows and disappear right away. So that would be absolutely phenomenal, especially paired up with something like, let me see here. I think it was poisoning. So increased damage of all kinds of poison, chance to slow, increased damage of poison creatures, and poison all creatures around you. So poisoning would be great for that, but I honestly feel like just going with straight fencing, because if you can see on fencing, chance to strike twice in a very short time, chance to make your enemies sway, increase damage on swayed targets, and increase your tactical awareness for a short time. So both of these things paired up together would be absolutely phenomenal. Since you're not going to be using armor or resist in that pretty much, because you're just going to be a stealth backstabber in a sense, you'd pretty much want to pump every point you can into melee damage just to get, you know, as hard hitting as absolutely possible. I don't think it's going to be one of those where you're standing toe to toe with creatures themselves, but it also has huge potential for like some PK applications. Obviously you wouldn't be using your masteries on that, but obviously anything that can stealth around and get, you know, that power hit in whenever something's, you know, a creature or a character's already low HP, or perhaps a maze, you know, in the middle of casting or something like that would be really fun for a PK, especially if you got a couple of guys doing it with you. That way you're all stealthing in and just but by the time they know what's happening, it's over. So other than that, you've got your basic fighting skills here. So you've got swordsmanship, which I've already showed you guys, mace fighting, armor crush, chance to destroy your enemy's armor, knockdown, makes your target helpless for a short time, bone breaker, increases damage when your foe's armor is, obviously been destroyed, and seismic shock, a massive blow injuring the enemies around you. So this one sounds awesome. It's going to be the AE version of mace fighting. And of course, bone breaker sounds awesome as well. Destroying your enemy's armor sounds really, really nice. Archery, chance to hit a spot that is not armored. So piercing shot would be awesome as well. You're going to be doing a lot more damage, especially against armored targets. Crippling arrow, chance to slow down your enemy on hit. So that's kind of like a snare, very useful for an archer, especially if you're trying to stay distance. Template bonuses there, going to be sharpshooter, don't move, aim, and hit with precision. So that's going to be you standing absolutely still, staying back and hitting. Obviously, that would be paired up really well with someone that's tanking. So, and then of course, proc would be rapid fire, firing at a high rate for a short time. So basically a machine gun archer. We went over stealth. Meditation, magical wrath, increases spell damage if caster has under 50% mana. So that's going to be huge right there. Chance the casted spell does not consume mana. That right there is huge as well, especially when it comes down to getting that last heal off whenever you're just running completely out of mana. Mana regeneration increases the mana regen rate. Awesome. Proc, mana surge, inflicts magical damage depending on your mana. So that's really nice as well. Obviously, the more mana you have, the more damage you're going to do on your mana surge. Resisting spells. This one right here is absolutely awesome. Silence. Chance to temporarily make your attacker unable to cast. That would be absolutely amazing to pair with a tank as well, especially if you're fighting something that is going to be, very strong on casting. Magic retaliation. The more magical damage you take, the more you deal. Sudden expulsion. Unload the collected magical power towards your enemy. So that one is going to suck in different magical powers that you're already taking, and it's going to expulse it right into your enemy. Proc, arcane echo, partially reflect magical harm back to your attacker. So this resisting spells is basically the parry version for a character that doesn't have parry, but instead of reflecting damage back from the melee attacks, you're going to be doing more of a reflection back based off magical attacks. So very cool. Definitely recommend trying to get both of these. You can switch back and forth between parry and resisting spells based on the actual encounter itself. I was told alchemy is getting an upfit right now, so not to go over that one. Parry, obviously we went over that one as well. Evaluating intelligence, target assessment, increasing magical damage on assessed targets. And vitalizing spirit, increases effectiveness of healing spells. So you're actually going to have an effective healing class in a sense on here. I do think that if that dungeon was a good example of what the future dungeons are going to hold as far as what I'm about to explore in the next couple of videos, I do think that grouping is going to be necessary in this, and that means that you're going to have a couple of build outs like a tank, possibly a bard, and a healer, as well as anything mixed in such as taming or other DPS classes. So template bonuses are annihilation, increases spell damage on severely injured targets, and the proc of arcane tempest, and loads a massive amount of magical energy. So that one's going to be awesome. Evaluating intelligence has always added damage to Mastery. This is going to just boost it even further. Poisoning, toxic surge, increases damage of all kinds of poison. Absolutely amazing. Slows down your target on poison infliction. Both of these things are absolutely phenomenal. Poison doom, increases damage on poison creatures, and noxious cloud poisons all creatures around you. Pair this with taste ID and the ability to put deadly poison on everything around you would be absolutely devastating. Inscription, scroll amplification, increased damage of spells casted via scrolls. That gives Inscription a whole nother world right here, which is awesome. Parchment preserve, chance of no scroll consumption, awesome as well. Scribe's Fortitude, increases effectiveness of protective scroll casts. And proc of Arcane Overload, a powerful magic attack casted from a scroll. So these are all very, very nice for Inscription. And last one but not least is fencing. Sway hit, make your enemy sway. And of course, this is what was out damaging me last night by Mysterion, which is the Swift Piercer. Chance of striking twice in a very short time. He was absolutely decimating some of these creatures out there in Crematorium. So it doesn't proc all the time, but when it was, you could definitely tell it did. It was doing crazy damage. So template bonuses here are going to be Abusive Assault, increased damage on swaying targets, which is going to be the sway hit right here, and Proc Fury, increases your tactical awareness for a short time. So one thing to notice is you can either go full tilt on Swift Piercer and have the chance to hit twice, or you can do Sway Hit, which doesn't do the damage right here, but can be paired up with Abusive Assault, increasing the damage on swaying targets. So I'm going to ask him to go ahead and test both of these out on his character and find out, as far as a parse go, which one of these is actually going to be more damage. I'll do the same thing down here because I'm a swords guy. I'll do the chance to cause a bleeding wound on hit and then increase melee damage when target is bleeding, and see which one better is that. As far as, you know, that, and also see how much my survivability goes down whenever I take the dodge away. But this has been the Masteries. Obviously, this is still alpha, so there could be some changes. I know they're about to do some changes on alchemy as well, so I'll kind of keep you updated on that. But really looking forward to testing these things out. My next one is going to be a Fencer Stealther. I want to see what it's like to go through the dungeons and just go backstab everybody and kind of see how it goes there. See if that's going to be a viable class by itself, or if you kind of need to have two characters or 3 characters going, even in the dungeons for PVM. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for following along. If you made it this far, please subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, and it shows that you love me. So I appreciate it a lot. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.